interesting story. Actually, just a quick background. I actually wasn't even going to make that film until a friend of mine said, God, it'd be great if you could talk about your film. And I was like, I'm not going to make a film. And then she goes, you need to tell your story. What happened to you? And I'm like, well, you know, people get hurt all the time. They don't make movies out of it. And then when she said, well, make it for me. And I was like, okay, for you, I'll make it. So I made it in one night.
Wow.
So I stayed up all night and made it. And then it's been in like 2 or 3 different film festivals all over the world, things like this. So, and I guess, you know, part of the takeaway, I guess some of the biggest, I won't spend too much time talking about, I'll just, if you guys have any questions about what I went through and what I'm doing today because of that experience, I think the one major thing for me is everything is relative. And, you know, before that, I really knew that, but it wasn't until the night, let's see, so what happened was, the way I hit the mountain, I had absolutely no control over how I was in the mountain at all. In fact, if I hit my head first, I would have died instantly. If I hit my body first, I would have died of internal injuries a week later. The only way I could have hit to survive was by hitting my legs first. And because I hit my legs first, I survived. Now, I paid the price, as you guys saw in the movie, but it enabled me to survive because my brain still worked. And I can tell you when I was in the hospital in Utah, my legs battered, and I remember the doctor, before he gave me the surgery on my back, he said, I just want to let you know, there's a chance you're not going to walk again. And which was strange because when I was sitting there, my buddy was tickling my foot saying, can you feel that? Can you feel that? And I was like, yeah, I can feel that. And then so when the doctor said, there's a chance you're not going to walk again, I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? I can feel my legs. I have feeling. And he goes, no, you don't understand what we're going to do to fix your back. I won't get into details, but it was an 11-hour surgery. And I said to the doctor, I said, well, are you a good doctor? Because I'm not going to be able to do anything about whether or not I can walk again. And luckily, they didn't have to operate in the front to move my organs over to push my spine back in, which is what they had to do. They didn't have to cut the front. But one guy actually had to open 2 of the vertebrae like this for like an hour while they pushed the other vertebrae back in. Okay? And so when I was in the hospital, and you saw some of the physical therapy that I had to go through, I was actually feeling very lucky with the injuries I had because there was a guy in there whose body was perfect, but he was a complete vegetable. And he was walking around. I used to see him every day walk by my hospital bed. He's just like, and 4 people had to walk with him. And I remember sitting there in the bed going, oh my God, I love my injuries right now because it's all relative. And I think, you know, the takeaway for what you've experienced in the 21 days that you've had is, from what I understand, is that there's a lot of fear because, like, what's going to happen now? We've been in this bubble for like 21 days and now I have to go back to a family who probably doesn't approve of yoga. I have to go back to a husband who makes fun of me because they think yoga is just stretching. So what do we do now? And I think one big takeaway is to realize that we all live life to collect experiences. This is what this is all about. It's been an experience. I mean, you guys have had an amazing 21 days that no one can take away from you. And so it may seem like, shit, what am I going to do? I have to go home now and deal with what I have to deal with. But everything's relative. And what I realized when I saw this guy walking around, I was like, man, I thought I was bad. So one thing I do every day is when it seems like it's bad, it's never that bad. It really isn't. It just may seem like that, but if you were to think about things that happened in your lives before, I think one of the best sayings is, I thought I was poor when I had no shoes until I met the person with no feet. And God, was that true when I was in hospital. I hate to say it, but it was totally true. So no matter what, no matter how bad things are, you're always going to leave. It always works out. It's always temporary. It always is. The situation is what it is. What makes it good or bad is you. Yeah. So just change you, and everything is over. So that was one thing I learned in the hospital, was everything is relative. So when people say to me, cancer was I had a friend, breast cancer was the best thing that's ever happened to me. And when that's never happened to you, you're like, what the F do you know? Why would that be the best thing? Well, now I can tell you it's so true. And what I don't want to have happen for any of you is to have something traumatic happen to you before you realize how lucky each and every one of you are. Don't wait for some accident. Don't wait for something to happen to be truly grateful for what you have, because you have everything you could ever want. I mean, think about it, what you've been doing for 21 days. You can afford to do it. You have the time to do it. You guys know yoga like no one else knows. And now you're here.
How lucky.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.